University of Oregon is located in Eugene, a city of 80,000 people, situated in the lush Willamette River Valley, midway between Cascade Mountains and the Pacific Ocean.
Touchdown! Kenjon Stewart! Yeah, I got your speed right here.
Hey, Barner, 10, outside 5. Are you kidding me?
I'm really proud of where this team's at. We got a lot of work to do.
What's the deal, Duck family? I'm Kenjon Barner, typically alongside my boy Jay Stu, but Jay Stu has some family stuff that he had to take care of. So guess what? It's you and me and you, baby. But we gonna get it done. Listen, today we're gonna introduce you guys to a new segment that we're incorporated into the pod. We calling it Flocking. And what we're doing is we're bringing in other guys from other universities that we're going to be coming up against. For instance, today on this episode, we're bringing in Mohammed Sanu, who was a standout star receiver, not only in the NFL, but at Rutgers University. So this is something that we're going to start doing, bringing guys in, introducing the fan base to other fan bases, introducing the fan base to other cultures, traditions, everything about this Big Ten that we do not know. We're new here, right? We're newcomers. So we got to get acquainted. We got to get to know. And that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to look forward to that segment coming up here real soon with Mohammed Sanu, a great friend of mine. But before we get into that, we got some business to tend to. Oregon, Indiana, 30-20. Indiana gets the win. This game, I mean, we could sit here and talk about it all day and all night, really. So many things that didn't go our way, so many things that we weren't accustomed to seeing, so many things that were out of the ordinary, so many things that didn't feel like Oregon football. In my opinion, this was a game that resembled the Ohio State game in the Rose Bowl last year in the college football playoff. Obviously, the score not being what it was, but how the game felt. The game, right, 30-20. You look at that, you look at the box score, you say, okay, it was a close game, 30-20. But when you actually watch the game, this game never truly felt like it was in hand for us. It never truly felt like we were in control. It felt like we were off balance. It felt like we were unsure. It felt like this was just not Oregon's brand of football. And it was puzzling to me. It felt like, we always say this on here, and I always say it to you guys, I'm never going to make something more than what it is or less than what it is. I'm going to call a spade, a square, and a circle. We took steps back in this game. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was a game where I thought, after both myself and Jay Stu thought coming off of that Penn State game, this was a game that could have elevated us. This was a game that was a game that should have skyrocketed this team's confidence. I thought we would have seen something different, because it's games like that Penn State game, right, where we see what Penn State has now turned into and what they've become. Those type of games they either break your will, break your spirit, or they elevate you to another level. And I thought that after what I seen from Oregon, what I seen from the coaching staff and from the players, I thought that game would be that catapult, right? That took us to another level, that took us to a higher level than what we were currently at. I thought that we would see a different Dante Moore. I thought we would see a more consistent defense. I thought what we seen in that Penn State game would be what we got versus Indiana, but it wasn't. In fact, we got somewhat of the complete opposite. We seen a defense that did show up, but in spurts where we couldn't stop the run. But we couldn't handle. I talked about Indiana having one receiver in Surratt, and he was that one guy. We seen that in coverage we weren't as solid as we should have been. We seen that we couldn't get off the field on third downs. I think we couldn't stay on the field and we couldn't get off the field. I think I want to get this right, we were 3 or 14 on third down as an offense, which is, again, not Oregon football. When I look at this game and I look at how we played, I think this game felt like a heavyweight fight that we weren't prepared for. And I know this coaching staff, and I know we were prepared, but I do believe that we were out-coached. I believe that we were out-physicaled. I think that we were outplayed. And I want to take a moment to highlight something right now that Coach Signetti said, which I never thought this would be something that I would hear of a Dan Lanning football team. And the quote said, they couldn't do much on that side of the ball. It was almost like we broke their will over there. They couldn't do much on that side of the ball offensively. It was almost like we broke their will over there. I never thought that I would be able to hear a coach say that about an Oregon football team, let alone a Dan Lanning football team. And I think that's something that we got to chew on, not only as a team, but as a fan base, right? To break somebody's will, that's what football is about. Football is a me versus you, man versus man, mano a mano sport. My job and my whole intention and desire is to break the man's will in front of me and make him fold to what I want him to be. I never thought that I would hear that. I never thought that I would see that. And for Coach Signetti, again, Coach Signetti him and Coach Lanning are very similar, right? They have them quotes. They have those sayings. Coach Signetti with the I win football games. Google me, right? This is who Coach Signetti is. But when you come out and play the way that Indiana played, you can say that, right? Because that's what it felt like to me. It felt like when I watched our offense on outside of a few select players here and there, it felt like we had no willpower. It felt like we were just there. And it was a terrible feeling. It was a terrible feeling because for one, I thought that there was a disparity when it came to the talent level on the field. Oregon versus Indiana, Indiana versus Oregon. I thought that player for player, we had the upper hand, especially offensively. I felt defensively, I felt that they only had Surratt, one receiver. I wasn't high on Mendoza. I think Mendoza's playing great, but I wasn't high on Mendoza. I didn't think that they would come out and dominate the game the way that they dominated. And Indiana did exactly that. They dominated this game. They held Oregon, I believe it was 2.7 yards rushing on the ground, which is something that we have not seen all season. And to that's something I want to speak to as well. As a player, right, back when I played, there were certain games, and I've said this there were certain games, and it wasn't a lot of games because LMJ was that dude, but there were certain games where I just had it for whatever reason. There were certain games where he couldn't get done what LeMike wanted to get done, and there was few, far, and in between that there were games like that. But there's certain games where as a coach, you have to recognize whose game this is. We go to 2 weeks ago at Penn State. That was a De'Aaron Hill game. It was his game from a running back standpoint. And when I look at, and as I'm watching this Indiana game, this was a hard-nosed, in-your-face, gritty, grinded out, dirty game. And we had somebody in Jordan Davison who I felt like this was his game. And that's no discredit to Noah Whittington. That's no discredit to Jalen Lamar. That's no discredit to any other back on that team. But sometimes it's just not your day, and sometimes it is your day. And I felt like Saturday, at 12:30, I felt like it was Jordan Davison's game. I was watching that kid run the ball. I was watching him move the line of scrimmage. I was watching him move defenders. That's the type of game that it was. That was the type of game that we needed to make it. And I felt like as we continue to switch guys in and out, right, that flow is hard to get back into, and that flow is hard to develop when I'm standing still and then I have to go. It's hard. And I get what college football and even the NFL is now from a running back standpoint, right? It's not one guy getting the load. It's not one guy carrying the load. It's running back by committee. I get it. I understand it. But at some point in time, that committee has to have a seat and let one guy take the charge. And I felt like Jordan Davison in this game was that guy. I felt like if we would have rode that horse a little bit longer, I think things could have been a tad bit different. I felt like Dante Moore was confused. I felt like Signetti and that staff developed a hell of a game plan that had him confused. It had everybody confused, not just Dante. It had the offensive line and the running backs. It had everybody confused. It was playing in the league when I played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Shout out to Coach Stout. The Minnesota Vikings, right? They were known for this double mug look. And what that double mug look is where you have your 4 down linemen. You mug 2 linebackers up in the A gap, and they bring different pressures. They bring safety pressures, corner blitzes. They bring it all. This game resembled that. And what we did when we were in Philadelphia with Jason Kelsey, it was they were going off of our points. So what we would do, if we pointed to the left, the right bump would come. And so after we picked up on that, we said, okay, this is what we're going to do. Kelsey is now going to go the opposite direction of where he points. They believe that our run protection or our pass protection was if Jason Kelsey, our center, pointed at somebody, the offensive line was responsible for the 4 down lineman and that particular man that Kelsey pointed to. And so what we did was now that Kelsey pointed to that left bump. Now I was responsible for him and he was responsible for the other one. And so then we made it easy and we started picking it up. This was a game where I felt like we had no idea where the pressure was coming from, whether it was the delayed pressures, whether it was the games that the defensive line ran. It just looked like we were out of sorts. And it was puzzling. It was absolutely puzzling that we couldn't make the right adjustments to handle what we needed to handle with this team. We couldn't protect Dante. We gave up 6 sacks in this game. Again, something that we had not seen. The offensive line and the running backs have been great in protection. We've been great running the ball. There was just so many things that were just off. Pass protection broke down, forcing more into hurried throws. We had turnovers that we don't typically see. Dante double clutching in moments where he would just let the ball fly. And so that let me know that there was some confusion. That let me know that there was some uncertainty. That let me know that there was some discomfort within what we were out there doing. Getting back to third down again, going 3 for 14 on third down, you have to be able to, in a game like that, you have to be able to stay on the field. And I thought, again, going back to Jordan Davison, that's how you stay on the field. That's how you stay ahead of the sticks. And too often we were behind the sticks going into third down. We lacked explosive plays. We couldn't sustain drives. We had penalties, 7 penalties for 64 yards. We had an inability to stop the run late in the game. There was just so many things that were just out of the ordinary. So many things that, as a Duck fan, you just did not expect to see going into that game. Whether it was play calling, there was a lot of things that just did not add up. And again, I'm always going to keep it real. And everybody knows how I feel about this Oregon football team. Everybody knows how I feel about Dan Lanning and this coaching staff. I absolutely love Oregon football. I absolutely love Dan Lanning and this coaching staff, but I have a job to do, right? And my job is to always tell the truth. And my job is to always give the fan base insight from a player's perspective as to what I've seen. It was just gave up chunk. When you have one guy, right, that is dominating the way that we were being dominated defensively, and I'm speaking about Surratt, in a gotta have it moment, I feel like you eliminate that guy. You force the offense, you force the quarterback, you force Mendoza to look somewhere else. And so the last touchdown that Surratt scored on the out route that he ran on Iffy, in my opinion, you got to eliminate that guy. You got to take him off the field. And Brandon Finney Jr. was having a phenomenal game, and he might just very well be our best corner. If we're going to go man, why not have your best man in a clutch moment like that? The game plan has to go out the window, right? It's no longer about, okay, this is what we do in this situation. No, this is a gotta-have-it moment. And if we're going man, hey, Finney, I need you to go over to the other side of the ball, and I need you to cover that guy. You're the best corner on the field right now in this game. It's you. He had one of the best games of his young collegiate career so far. And so, again, there was moments where I thought that we could have been better. We could have called better plays. We could have did things just differently, and we didn't. We had a missed field goal that I think hurt us, that cost us. There was just so much in this game that just did not feel like Oregon. It didn't feel the way that it should have felt. And so we go on and we lose that game, right? So what could we have done differently that could have changed the outcome of that game? And I wrote a couple things down. Once you've seen that we couldn't handle pressure, I think quicker reads, tempo, right? Use RPOs and screens. Get the ball out faster. Allow Dante and the offense to get into a rhythm. I felt like we could have moved the pocket rather than having Dante just drop back play after play after play. We could have moved the pocket. We could have ran some bootlegs, some rollouts to neutralize that pressure. Again, we could have leaned on the backs. I felt like we were having a solid day on the ground. We could have leaned more heavily on Jordan. I want to say this, right? I understand that there's a pecking order, right? I understand that there's seniority in the room, but sometimes that has to go out the window, right? It just has to go away. And I could stay right here on this topic for the length of this episode. I could, but I won't. But when you have a guy 2 weeks ago being De'Aaron Hill, when you have a guy last week being Jordan Davison, when you have these two young guys that are running the ball that they're running, we got to let them ride. You know what I'm saying? You got to let them run. And you got to let them run consistently. And that's no disrespect to Noah Whittington. That's no disrespect to Jalen Lamar. That's no disrespect to Jay Harris. That's no disrespect to Riggs. That's no disrespect to Makai. That's no disrespect to any other back in this room, because if it's your day, I'm going to say it's your day as well. I'm not going to pull punches. I feel like we have to be able to recognize a guy having a day. We have to recognize a guy being able to move the needle on offense. We have to be able to recognize that. Yeah, I could stay right there, but I won't. I think we could have used more motions to figure out things, man zone, something to help. Essentially, this is what needed to happen in this game that it didn't happen. Oregon needed to dictate rather than react. And I felt like this entire game we were reacting. We never dictated the tempo. We never controlled it. It felt like we were playing catch up the entire game. This was a game, right? Coach Lanning preaches coaching, or not coaching, I'm sorry. Coach Lanning preaches connection, toughness, and discipline. And this was a game where none of that showed up. We didn't feel connected, right? We didn't feel, it wasn't discipline with 7 penalties. And I don't want to say there wasn't toughness. I never want to question a player's toughness, right? But collectively, right, toughness isn't just about me being able to go out on the field and manhandle the man in front of me. Toughness is mental. And this is the biggest part of football, in my opinion. The physical aspect of it, yeah, it's physical. But the toughest aspect of football is right here between your ears. And I felt like there were moments in this game where we weren't mentally tough, where we broke down, where we were taken advantage of, both as a coaching staff and as players. And, we can all focus on the play calling, and we can go there and say, Will Stein should have called a better game. He should have did this. He should have did that. But at the end of the day, football, again, as I said earlier, it's a me versus you sport. My job as a player is to go out and move and defeat that man in front of me. So we can't put all of this on Coach Stein, right? We can't put all of this on Tosh. We can't put all of this on Coach Lanning, because as a player, I got to look myself in the mirror, and I have to have a real conversation, a real hot conversation. When I say hot, that's an acronym I have to be humble, I have to be open, and I have to be transparent. And I have to be able to do that with myself. A lot of guys have to look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, this wasn't good enough. This was not my best effort. There were times, there were plays where I could have done better, I could have did this, that, and the other, or I just got beat. My job as a football player is to dominate the man in front of me. It is to make this man in front of me feel less than a man. That's just it's a gladiator sport. It's me versus you, my will versus yours, my attitude, my mentality versus yours. Can I break you? Can I defeat you? Can I make you quit? And if we look at this film, I'm never going to say that we quit, but we were defeated. We were beat in a lot of ways at this team, and as a fan base, we aren't accustomed to see it. And so with that loss, we dropped 5 spots. We dropped from number 3 to number 8. And as a fan base, I can see a lot of, comments, oh, that's a significant drop. But when you look at the totality of everything, right? When you look at that game and really watch that game again, like I said, that wasn't a game that we were truly never in control of. That was a game that we were being controlled. When you look at now the Penn State win, we have to talk about that, because that now plays a part in where we're ranked, because that win at Penn State did carry weight, right? And Steve Smith, Sr., Carolina Panthers legend, Hall of Famer. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. He should be if he isn't. But either way, he has what he calls a jag, right? Just a guy. And in my opinion, now that Penn State win on the road in Happy Valley in that environment becomes a jag. Not just a guy, but it becomes just a game. Why? Because Penn State the following week goes on and gets crushed by UCLA. And then have Northwestern come into Penn State, a team in which we struggled with for a little bit, a team that we didn't really dominate the way that we should have dominated. Yes, it was on the road. Nevertheless, we were the superior team, and we should have made that game look a lot easier than what it was, right? That game looked hard in moments. It looked hard in spurts. But Penn State now hosts Northwestern, who then goes in and now defeats Penn State at home in the very place that we beat them in. That took us 2 overtimes to do it. So that win that once carried weight, right? That significant win is now just a game. That game, it looks no different than a win over Oregon State. It looks no different than a win over Oklahoma State. It looks no different than our previous 3-4 games that got us ready for that Penn State game. It's just a game. And so now with that win, now in Penn State losing the games that they lost, now that affects us. Because now the voters and the world starts to look at Oregon as, are they really for real? Are they as good as we thought they were? Is Dante Moore this? Is the running game? There's so many questions that are now being asked because of how we didn't handle business and how Penn State win and Penn State losing, that's a reflection upon us now, right? There's a saying, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. When you look at our schedule, right, that's what it is. When you look at the teams that we've beaten and then now the teams that we have lost to, we have to hope that Indiana continues on the trajectory that they're on and continues to go on and dominate and dominate and dominate and dominate and dominate. We still have to take care of our business, first and foremost, before we can look to anybody else. Oregon has to take care of Oregon. We have to now go on. We can't lose another game. If we lose another game, we will be out of the college football playoff picture. I'll bet everything that I have. We are sitting at number. We cannot afford to lose another game. So we have to take care of everything that's in front of us. We have to take this one day, one practice, one game at a time, one rep. It has to be, as me and Sanu just spoke about, we have to chop wood every single day. We have to be where our feet are. We have to be in the moment. Every game matters now. There isn't a game where you could look at and say, no, every game is a championship caliber game. And that's the mentality of this team anyway, right? I'm not saying that I'm not saying anything that Coach Lanning hasn't preached to this team or isn't saying to them. Every game is a championship game, but now, after losing and having nobody else remaining on your schedule, right, that can get you back into the conversation of being elite, of being a team that is now faced another top 10, top 5 opponent and went on and went. We don't have that, right? We have another physical game coming up here in a couple of weeks versus Iowa. That if we can't handle physicality, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a problem. If we can't handle blitzes and all of that, as we just talked about with Schiano. Understand this, Schiano is a defensive-minded coach. He's going to bring people from the stands. Everybody's seen what we could not handle. Everybody. In football, in the NFL, and every other level of football, it's copycat. So if you think for one second that Coach Schiano out there isn't looking to see how they can maximize and capitalize on the weaknesses that we showed last week, you're crazy. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm going to blitz, in the words of Coach Herm from Remember the Titans, blitz all night. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to blitz until I can't blitz anymore. I'm going to disguise. I'm going to make and confuse Dante. I'm going to do everything that I've seen Indiana do that worked for them. I'm going to implement that into my game plan. I may not have the players that Indiana had, but guess what? I can draw up the scheme. I can look at different parts and different avenues of this game and say, okay, this is what I can look at what I now perceive as a weak link, right? And when you look at this offense, what is being perceived as a weak link now is they can't handle pressure. They can't handle stunts. They can't handle delayed blitzes. And what we used to call in the NFL is coffee house, right? You're out for a sip of coffee and then I'm come. Or a coffin blitz where I fake out and I come back. Now we got to be aware of a lot because we put a lot on tape. We put a lot on film. So every game matters. And we're going to see pressure from the teams that can and from the teams that can play us physical. I can tell you right now, teams are going to try and out-physical this team after what Indiana did. They may not be able to, and a lot of them won't be able to. But that's going to be the game plan. They can't handle physicality. They can't do this. They can't handle pressure. They can't handle blitzes. We can confuse the quarterback. We can do all. This is going to be what Oregon now has to face week in and week out. So every game from this point on matters. Every game from this point on is a must win. If Oregon cannot, if we, and I don't, well, I feel like I'm just talking about a school. This is my school. I keep saying Oregon. If we, okay, this is a we thing. I'm in this with y'all. I'm in this boat. I'm in the car with you. My seatbelt not off. My seatbelt buckled up because I still believe we are who we say that we are. I still believe that we are that team that showed up versus Penn State and was able to stop that run. I still believe this was a team that showed up with up versus Penn State and can dominate the physicality aspect of a game because we dominated Penn State. Now, Penn State is Penn State currently, but we showed that we can be that. We showed that we can do that. So this game, this Indiana game is a wake-up call, right? That's exactly what this game is. When you look at our schedule in the remaining games, we only have one ranked opponent left, and that's in SC. And a SC win is not going to carry a lot of weight with the voters. It's just not. And so in order for us to stay where we're at and continue to elevate, because other teams in the country have to play other schools and they're going to lose in school, that's all part of the process. But we have Rutgers, we have Wisconsin, we have Iowa at Iowa, we have Minnesota, SC, and Washington. We all know that's always a game that can go either way because of the rivalry that exists there. Every game matters. Every game is crucial. We have to go out and dominate we have to make a statement. Every one of these games has to be a statement because there's too many questions about what this Oregon football team is not versus who they are and who they said they are. And so we're in a great position, right? And this is why I say that. I like to look, I'm the youngest of 6, right? So as a child and even to my young adulthood and teenage years, I sat back, I watched and observed, right? And I seen the mistakes that my brothers and my sisters made. I watched everything around me and I picked up on things. And so I say that to say this game and this moment is an opportunity for Oregon to take a look at, again, what the Michigan and Ohio State game last season, that loss, what that did for Ohio State. This loss now gives us a time to really look ourselves in the mirror. All the hype is gone. There's no more hype, right? The hype is out the window. The press clippings, and none of that matters. None of, everybody saying we're great. None of it matters. This gives us an opportunity to sit back, reflect, and really ask ourselves, who do we want to be? What are we going to be? Who are we? What are we? And where are we headed? We all know what the goal is. The goal is to win the Big Ten championship, and anything can happen, right? But the ultimate goal is a national championship, and those national championships hopes, they are still alive. And this game, again, that loss and the way that we lost, in my opinion, should only do this should light a fire up under this team's behind. That loss should create a mean machine. That loss should create one of the most physical teams that Oregon has ever seen. That's what that loss should do. That loss should be a wake-up call that we can't just show up and win, that we can't just show up and compete. Football is about intention. You have to be intentional about everything that you do in this game of football. You can't cheat the game of football. You can't cheat it. And any time that you try to, you're going to end up on the short end of the stick. And I'm not saying that we tried to cheat this. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just telling you guys what football is. So what now? After suffering that loss, the mentality has to be, so what, now what, right? We lost, so what, now what? Where do we go from here? That has to be the mentality. Again, and I hate repeating it, but I'm going to repeat it again. They couldn't do much on that side of the ball. We broke their will. But that's the thing about being hit, right? That's the thing about being punched in the mouth. But Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Well, we got punched. We got hit in the mouth hard. Our lip is busted. Our lip is bleeding. And we're tasting our own blood. But what now? Where do we go from there? What now? That's the moment that separates talk from truth. Hype from heart. Anybody can play when it's clean. Anybody can play when the odds are in their favor. Anybody can play when it's sunshine and blue skies. But when a game truly gets dirty, when it gets gritty, when it gets grimy, when I really got to get down and get it out the mud, Can I do it? Will I do it? When they think they broke your will, that's when you find out what you're made of. Point blank, period. There's a perception of us now that people have that's been put out there. There's a narrative that's been put out there. Now it's time to rise. Now it's time to respond. So come this week, we'll find out how we're going to respond. Come this week, we'll find out if we rise to the occasion. Come this week, we'll find out if we truly looked ourselves in the mirror and had a real conversation with ourselves. Come this week, we'll find out how real this Oregon football, because listen, life is all about responding to adversity. Adversity comes in every way, shape, form, or fashion. We all have faced it in every aspect of our life. We all face adversity. But it's not about the adversity that you face. It's how you respond. It's how you react. It's how you come out of it. And this is that. This is the adversity. This is that trial, that tribulation that's either going to make you or break you. We see what a loss did to Penn State. We see what that loss turned Penn State into. The pen is in our hand, Oregon. The book, the pages now, we're on a blank canvas right now. How do you want this story to be told? How do you want people to talk about this year's Oregon football team? Do you want them to talk about the great what if, a team that started off hot, a team that showed all the signs that they could be special, that they could be a playoff contender, that they could go out and potentially win a national championship? Or do you want to write the story and have this chapter say, this team is exactly who we thought they were? This team battled adversity and battled through adversity. This team overcame. This team had a moment, but that moment elevated and lifted this team to heights, ascended them to a realm that we didn't know they could reach. This team became something different. They became that nightmare that people have when they think about playing Oregon. They became a nightmare to teams. They became an absolute. What do you want the story to say? It's entirely up to you. It's entirely up to us. What are we going to do? How are we going to respond? Not only this game, but every game after this. Because it's not about just coming out and proving it once. It's not about coming out doing it once. It's about consistency. Can I consistently show up and do the same thing? Oh, that's what greatness is. Greatness is consistently showing up, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and getting better at it and becoming a master. That's what greatness is. And I do believe that this program is great. I do believe that we have greatness in that locker room. But oftentimes, greatness is defined by people who do not look into the mirror that we look into as players and as coaches. And right now, we're in that moment where our greatness is being defined by the world. It's being defined by the noise outside of the Oregon locker room. But true greatness understands this. It begins and ends with the one that looks into that mirror each and every single day. Each and every single day. Let's be great. Let's bounce back. Let's wake up. Let's recognize our weak points. And as players, as collectively, as players and a coaching staff, we got to come together. We got to get on the same page. We can't take steps back. We can't repeat what just happened. We can't have a game like we have versus Penn State where we go out and display the things that we displayed, the playmaking, Dante being one of the best, if not the best college football quarterbacks this season. We can't take steps back. We can't do that. So let's move forward. Let's chew on this game. I don't want us to forget this game. I don't want us to forget this moment. I want us to hold on to this the entire season. I was a player that, in football, they tell you to have a short-term memory, but some things you need to hold on to. Some things you need to have in that Rolodex. You need to have in your notebook. You need to have written on a piece of tape. You need to have written somewhere to where you consistently walk by it and see it or look down and see it. We need to be able to see this game. We need to be able to feel this game throughout the rest of the season because this is a feeling that nobody wants again. Not the fan base, not the coaching staff, not the players. Nobody wants this feeling. Nobody. I was a player that I needed to hold on to my mistakes. If I fumbled the ball, my coach would tell me, forget about it. I tell him, nah. I need to hold on to that because that was a motivating factor for me to go out and play at a completely different. That was my motivating factor to go out and remember to hold on to the ball. That was my motivating factor to go out and play 1,000 times harder than what I did prior to that. Everybody has those things in those moments. This game needs to be that marker. Have a short-term memory, but I need you to forever remember the feeling that you felt when you walked off that field when that clock struck 0. I need you to forever remember the feeling of hearing the words of announcers and analysts and the talking heads of this sport world. I need you to hold on to those words. I need you to hold on to the doubt. I need you to hold on to everything that has been said about you over the past week. Everything that's been said that you aren't. Everything that's been said that you are. A team that can be out physical. A team that can be done. I need you to hold on to that and use it as motivation. Use it as fire. Use it to propel you to another galaxy, to another atmosphere. Use this. Hold on to it. Don't forget this. Use it. Use it to your benefit. And when the dust settles at the end of this season, we'll look up and find out where we are. And we'll be able to look up and see who we are and what we are. We'll be able to look up and say, you know what? Either it was or it wasn't. But I believe that it is. I know Coach Lanning. I believe in Coach Lanning. I believe in Coach Tosh. I believe in Stein. I believe in Dante Moore. I believe in Iffy. I believe in Brandon. I believe in Sadiq. I believe in Decorian. I believe in Malik. I believe in our offensive line. I believe in this team. We believe in this team. I need every player in that room to have the same belief that we have in them. And last game it didn't show. But I know what's in that locker room. I know what's there. I've been around it. I just need you guys to come out and show it. That felt good. That felt good. That felt good to get. I as you can tell, I've been holding on to that. I've been holding on. Needed to get that off my chest. Needed to vent, and this was my venting session. I wish Stu was here because we had a great conversation after this game. We had a great conversation after this game. And I think it was a conversation that the fan base needed to hear. And maybe we'll, on the next episode, we'll kind of go into some things. We kind of revisit this because I know Stu, he has some great points that he needs to get off as well. So we're going to table this and we'll give Stu an opportunity. But up next, we got Rutgers, a team that is struggling. A team, again, this is a game that shouldn't be a close game, in my opinion. Again, we are going to come out and get everybody's best shot. Everybody's going to give us their best shot. We have a target on our back. We have a perception about us now. And so there's probably a confidence within that locker room of what they can and what they cannot do. Jesus, I just looked at the over-under for this game. Oh, wow. That's impressive. That is impressive. But this game shouldn't be close, in my opinion. And I firmly believe that, and I don't think it will because now we got a chip on our shoulder. Yeah, we got a chip on our shoulder. We should have developed an attitude and mentality. We gotta come out and set the tone. And one thing I love about the game of football, one thing I love about life in general, before I get to Rutgers, get back has no expiration date on it. So Indiana, we will hopefully see you again. And when we do see you again, you will not see the same team. You will not meet the same players. You will not get the same experience. Get back has no expiration date. And I know get back is on Coach Lanning's mind. I know it is. I know it's on this team's mind. But getting into Rutgers, this is a team that is sitting at 3-3, 14th in the Big Ten. Their losses have come to Iowa, Minnesota, Washington. Their wins against Ohio, a couple other teams, but a team that's struggling. And again, this shouldn't be a game that should be close. This should be a game where we come out and reclaim our dominance. This is a game that the Rutgers should face the wrath, right? I think we've all had these moments, right, to where somebody else reaps the havoc that somebody else should have got. We've had some situation where, we've gotten into it with somebody but we take it out on somebody else. That's what this game has to be and what I believe it will be. Everything that's been said, everything that's being felt, Rutgers will feel the wrath. Rutgers will feel the heaviness. Rutgers will feel the dominance that we did not display because we have to, point blank, period. Oregon is a 17.5-point favorite. I believe we cover. I believe we do more than cover. We should. Again, it's on the road. I'm not worried about that. I don't think this is I don't think this is an environment that should play a huge part in the outcome of this game. We shouldn't see some of the silly penalties that we seen last week, even though we shouldn't see a lot of it. 17.5-point favorite. I think we win this game by a mile, running away. But again, football's about mentality. Football's about attitude. Football's about mindset. And we have to have the correct mentality, mindset, and attitude going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, today we got a real one in the building. One of my favorite people that I had the opportunity to cross paths with during my time in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. One of the best receivers that I've played with more importantly, a better person than he could ever be, a football player. We have a Rutgers alum. During his time there, 210 receptions, over 2,200 yards receiving, 12 receiving touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, 650 rushing yards, 11 pass completions, and a passing touchdown. Mr. Do-It-All himself, my guy, Mr. Mohamed Sanu. How we doing, bro?
Great, brother. I appreciate you having me, KB. I appreciate that, man. It's a blessing to be on here and, chopping it up with you on your dope platform. I love how you shining light on your dope school, your dope experiences and, other people's dope school and dope experiences like that. That's dope. You giving other people on this platform to understand each other, and that's beautiful right there.
And I appreciate you, bro. That mean the world to me. You already know how I feel about you, bro. My guy
You're
since
my
day
dog.
one.
Day one,
Um,
day one.
man, listen, I was reminiscing earlier about our time in Atlanta. I was on the phone with one of my boys and we was talking about the pod, and I told him I had you coming on. He happened to be a fan. And I just started going through pictures that I had. I was trying to find some pictures of it, but as I'm looking through the pictures, I'm like, we weren't good that season, but Atlanta was literally one of the best seasons from a environment, cultural, locker room. Like
Yeah.
it was just so different, man. And that was a tribute to you, Jet, Matty Ice, all these different dudes that we had, Dion, that we had in leadership, Rico, it was just that locker room, that environment, that culture was something so different and so special. And so you left before season ended, right? But I never got the opportunity to say thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because you, man, helped me out in major ways. You supported me in every way, was a fan of mine in every way, bro. And so I never got the opportunity to say thank you. But I want to say thank you right here on this platform where I got you with me. But, man, let's get into this. But I want to give your NFL, I don't want to just keep this collegiate related because he did go on to the NFL, people, okay? He was drafted in the third round. Third overall in 2012 by the Cincinnati Bengals. Played for the Falcons, the Niners, the Patriots, the Lions, and the Dolphins. Again, one of the guys. If he was on the team, he was one of the guys, one of the best catching receivers I've ever been around. I don't know if I seen Mo drop a pass. I really don't. If it was in the vicinity, he was grabbing it. And that's just real. But thank you for being here, bro. And let's get into this. Rutgers, being from South Brunswick, you chose to stay home.
Yes, sir.
What did that mean to you? What was the decision for you to stay close? Because a lot of times people want to get away, me being one. I wanted to get away from Cali. I wanted to get away from home. But you chose to stay right there. What did that mean to you? What did that mean for your family? And what type of pressure did that put on you once you got to the university?
It was a great decision I made just because I wanted to have that ability to, if I need something from my sister or my mom, my brother, I had a 20-minute drive.
Mm.
But at the same time, like, I'm far enough to where they're not gonna bother me. They got what they
Yeah.
need to, handle, and I can focus on what I needed to focus on. So when it was time to work for me, it was time to work. And when
Yeah.
I needed to go in and just step away from it, I had a 15, 20-minute drive where I can go back to the crib. Or if I forgot something that I can turn them right back around and go back to the crib, go home
Yeah.
for a home cooked meal. Like, family is everything. So
Everything.
like, for me, it's like, all right, if I could, be closer to them and they could be close to me and experience, watch me play. Like, you know, growing up, we was not like I was the wealthiest
Mm.
family. So you gotta put that to account. Like, all right, traveling and driving to the
Yeah.
games and things like that. It's like, all right, and this is before NIL. So you
Yeah.
ain't you ain't saying, hey, I need you to bring moms, pops, or whoever. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So It was just one of those things where Rutgers was one the first school that showed tremendous interest in me, and they was authentic. They was real. They didn't sugarcoat nothing. They didn't promise me anything. They said, "Hey, you're gonna have an opportunity to come play football. You're gonna learn a lot of great football. And you're gonna have opportunity to earn everything that's given to you."
Yeah.
For me, that's what I wanted. I wanted to earn my way. I wanted to earn my keep. I didn't want to just be given something because
Hmm.
that's not, how I'm built. That's not not him. I gotta earn my keep. So
Yeah.
I love that.
That's who you are. That's who I know you as. But you went into Rutgers at a time that they were building an identity, right? Tough,
Mhm.
gritty, blue collar football. What was that culture like under Shiano?
Man, it was incredible. It was not for everybody, and
Right.
it really separated a lot of people from being a boy to a man. And even though at that point in time you may not understood what was going on or why it was going on the way that it was, you learned later in life why he put you in those adverse situations
Hmm.
the way he did it. So it could be applicable to life, right? I mean, times where he'd wake you up in, middle of training camp to go chop down a tree like
Hmm.
3 a.m. in the morning that they ain't got nothing to do with football.
Yeah.
But life, you got something that pop up or middle of the night that ain't got nothing to do with like
Yeah.
what your everyday is. Like it prepares you for certain stuff like that. So no, it's I was just grateful for all the life lessons and all the tangible things that crossed over from off the field to from on the field to off the field.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the fan base. This being the first time that Oregon and Rutgers has ever crossed paths, right?
Mhm.
We making a trip out there. So what should an Oregon fan look for? What should they look forward to? What traditions do the fan base have? Talk to us about those things.
The Rutgers fans, they're a good, cool fan base, man. I mean, they love their team, they love their players, whether you know we winning or losing, like they gonna show up, and that's what you need as a player to have a fan, you know supporter show up and help boost you in time of need. Like fans don't realize like those chants, them being their presence, add tremendous value, and then our fans, I wouldn't say they're disrespectful in any type of way. They're real respectful.
Mhm.
I mean, they're Jersey people. They may say something like, "Ah, got it," but they don't mean it in any
Yeah.
demeaning way, and that's the cool part. Like they'll laugh it off and show love and respect. But Oregon, I'm sure they're gonna obviously open arms with you guys just because it's the first time in our respective school history playing each other, and you know us being another getting back to Nike and Oregon being the Becca of Nike, like that's everybody, I include myself, wanted to go to Oregon at a point in time, so I know like Oregon is on the tip top of everybody's list as far as respect factor. But I'm interested to see how, we compete against, the Oregon team because y'all are still top of the top, and it's what we are aspiring to grow toward.
Yeah.
That's what, building a program and being able to grow it to, a perennial house when it comes to being in the top 10, top five, going to big major bowls, winning national championships. Like that's what we want to, aspire to become. So
Mhm.
I'm just excited to see how well we're able to compete, go out there and play ball because it's 11 on 11 once it's out there, and
Yeah.
you got to go out there and just play the game.
Yeah, you led me somewhere, right? I always
Mhm.
tell Jay Stu, you leading this horse to water and I'm a drink. So I'm gonna come back to something that you said a little bit ago, but I want to get into more of again the culture of Rutgers football. Like, do you guys have different chants that they do during the
Yeah,
game? Talk
yeah.
talk to
Well,
talk.
the chants I'm familiar with still is the RU chant, right? So one side of the stadium yelling R, pointing to the other side of the stadium yelling U. You'll see that going, and then on third down, you'll see the defense fans doing the, the guitar,
Okay.
thing on third down, dun 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 dun
Okay.
dun. So y'all should expect that on third down. If y'all don't score too many points, which I'm hoping y'all don't. We can get y'all to third down, which I'm sure Sean gonna try to scheme up some stuff to, you know, get get y'all to third down situations. But yeah, yeah, those Rutgers chants, they got their, you know, the third down chant, and they got their, are you chant.
Do you guys have a fourth quarter moment like for us? We got our shout, at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that
they played John Bon Jovi. I don't know if they still do, but they would play Lil Bon Jovi at that time. And it was this kid when I was playing. He would always, play his guitar, singing Bon Jovi for year after year. And you could watch the kid grow up. I don't know if
yeah.
he's still there doing it, but
Yeah, that
it was all, you know, Joe Bon Jovi from Jersey. So they get that Bon Jovi playing, everybody go crazy.
yeah, I hope that is the case. I would have loved to have been out there to go to this game. One of my goals, my last couple of years of playing, I was like, man, when I get done, I want to travel to different schools. I want to experience different cultures. I want to see different games, different environments. And so with Oregon joining the Big Ten, I'm getting that opportunity, right? I wish I was heading back over there, back east to get out there. But you said something about the fan base. And for West Coast people, right? Me being a West Coast guy, um, East Coast people are different, right? And so
Different, man.
they
It's
don't
different.
understand this, guys. As we go over there, they talk a little different. They're a little
Yeah,
bit more aggressive in their tone and their demeanors, but they
very.
mean absolutely. It's just who they are. It's just
How
what the East Coast is.
you gotta think about it, there's so many different cultures in a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming in from all different parts of the world to this small region we call the tri-state area.
Mhm.
And it's a lot of traffic, a lot of flow, and people are ticked off throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and they're not necessarily mad at you, they're just mad at whatever situation,
Yeah.
traffic,
Yeah.
So it's like they may be like, hey, out of here. They
No.
don't mean nothing by
Nothing at
it.
all.
Nothing by it. They're
Man.
just literally like, man, leave me alone. Like, so
Yeah, I
it's
remember I remember my time in Philly. I got acquainted with them East Coast people real quick. And I didn't understand at first, I didn't understand the dynamics and the way they talked and the lingo. So it would be certain things where you want to, what? No,
come
that's
on,
just,
top.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's
Nah,
just, that's just what it is. And some of my favorite people in the world, my favorite people in general, I love East Coast people. And I say this about East Coast people, and it may not be it all, but everybody that I came across, I never had to worry about where I stood with somebody from the East Coast
yeah,
because they're going to say what it is and they're going to say what it's not. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't.
I don't. Period.
Look, I can respect that. I can live in that. I can operate in that space. So, Doug fans, as we do head back east and we get that experience, stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, and understand that we experience something different that probably a lot of us have never experienced. But getting
Uh,
back to ball, you talked about Shiano and what he was and what he is. Talk to me a little bit about your time there. What the locker room was like. What was the
uh,
identity of the team, and even now, so do you see any of that in this day and age's team now?
yeah, I see a lot of that, but it's evolved to what the day and
Right.
age is, right? But it's still you know, the little things, right? Like staying consistent within the moment, being diligent on how you prepare. Um, I know it's still I see Shiano still talking about chop the moment, and that is one of the biggest things I still used to hey like you know staying consistent with every moment that you are in and having that laser focus to hit that same particular task or the same
Look, you
spot
you 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 got ahead of
until
me, brother. You got
yeah.
it. Cause listen, I was gonna ask you what does the phrase "chop" mean.
hmm So it's more so just being having that laser focus to hit that same spot on the tree until the tree's cut down, job's done, next. that lumberjack mentality,
Hmm.
or that it's just being like, all right, like knowing that it may not go the way that you think it is. It may
Hmm.
take a couple more chops. It may take you know, you may chop a tree down in a couple swings, or you may be there all night. But if you stay laser focused and consistent in your effort and deliberate in how you operate, like,
Yeah,
tend to love
that's
the results.
that's again, like you said, that's something that you still use to this day. That is something that carries over into every aspect of your life,
All right.
not just as a football player, not just on the field, but that's in the classroom as a student. That's in a
Mhm.
relationship as a man. That's raising your kids. That's on your job. That's in your everyday routines. And that is a beautiful mantra. I remember when I played Stanford, had something like that, and even we did with Coach Kelly. Chop that tree down, chop, chop, chop. But the attention to detail, the consistency, the being where you feel are, the laser focus of being right there in that moment, not looking anywhere else, but taking care of the business right there, and that leads to success.
Yeah.
And during your time there, you had a lot of that success, my guy. Listen, with Rutgers being in the Big Ten, right? What do you think this team needs to become a powerhouse? What do you think this team needs to be amongst the top ranks, amongst the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Penn States, the Oregons? What do you, Indiana, let me not leave them out. What do you
Yeah.
think this team needs from either a coaching standpoint or a player standpoint to get to that level?
Honestly, I think it's a combination of a couple things, like combination of the kids that are in the area staying home.
Mm,
Like wanting is like think about it like this, right? Like there's this crazy stat. Um, I don't remember the time or the exact year, but like I think it's like 4 straight years in a row we had like the number one player in the country from New Jersey at
mm-hmm,
their respective positions, and they left to go to Michigan, Jabril Peppers, go to
mm,
Alabama, Mika Fitzpatrick, go to Michigan, Rashawn Gary, So like the guys that you would quote unquote be building around, not to say like, yeah, they want to go and play on the big stage, which,
yeah,
you know, those are big stages,
right,
but you can create a bigger stage right in the tri-state area
right,
in the biggest media market right up the street,
yeah.
right? And you could make a household name for yourself on a place where you will always be a quote unquote
Pop,
legend.
to what you just said, when I think about recruiting, I always think when coaches are going to talk to these big time players, it's so easy to want to become a part of a legacy, right?
Mhm.
But it's a much different path to create a legacy.
Much different.
Much different. It's completely, everybody can go to a Bama. Everybody can, no,
Mhm.
not everybody, but you can go to Bama. You can go to LSU. You can go to Oregon. Even Oregon is building legacy, but you can go to these schools that have these big, grand legacies, right? That's already been established. And when you
Mhm.
look at in-state kids, homegrown talent, a lot of times they do leave. But it's those, again, if you can keep those players right there, right? You can build something special.
That was something
But
special.
yeah, but a lot of guys want to go after what's already been established. It's a lot harder to create and build something on your own than it is to go buy a house that's already built. That you don't have to put the work, the time, the equity in. It's already there. There's already this environment, this atmosphere that exists from past success. So I'm right in line with you. You talk about players, staying home and becoming effective, and though you named a bunch of them. I want to get to you for a second, right? Stranger to Big Ten play. This is what you did. Um, you hauled in 16 catches, 6 and 2 touchdowns versus Ohio State in
In
2011.
Ohio State. I
Who
wish it
was
was
that?
Ohio. It was
Ohio, Ohio. My
Ohio.
fault. Ohio. What was that game like for you?
It was one of those games where it's like I didn't really know I was gonna do it. Like, but after the first drive, I was like, damn, I'm going crazy. And like the
Yeah.
first drive, I had like 6 catches. Like it was
Mhm.
just like boom, 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 boom. And back then, like I don't recall like coaches going over like a first 15 plays or things like that. Like not in
Yeah.
college per se, but in the league, that's what we would do. But I just remember like coach seeing something and he came, he came to me, boom, I had a catch, boom, 20 yards, had another catch, boom, 10 yards, had another catch, boom, 6 yards, had another, and it was just like, but I was getting up with energy, enthusiasm, and
Yeah.
like looking like, hey, nigga, give me this ball, like. So it was after that, it was just, and actually I left two out there. Like I had a drop, I had two drops out to my standard. I had a
Yeah.
wide open like little out route, and then I had a goal ball for like 40 yards that got caught, and then I hit the ground, popped out.
Yeah.
So I could have ended up with like two something, three tugs. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like damn near 18 to 20 catches.
Yeah.
But it's just like,
I know I know that feeling. I know that feeling, man. It's those games. I was just talking to somebody about this and I was like, you go in a zone. It's I use the basketball analogy that basketball players use. You know, the rim gets as big as the ocean. They feel like they can't miss. And for me, my game was versus USC, 321-5. But you don't feel anything.
at
Like
all.
you don't feel nothing. You don't hear nothing. It I had 37 carries, right? And after the game, I felt like I could still keep going. I could keep going. Like I don't feel like I played. Now you ask me how I felt on Monday and Tuesday, that's different. That's
But
different.
immediately after, I could have played another.
Yeah. It's a different zone, but to your point, remembering them plays, right, that you missed. I can remember I had a run up the right hand, our sideline, and a guy dove at my ankles and I jumped, but I went out of bounds. That could have been another 40, 50 yards. So in reality, it was a great game, but I wholeheartedly feel like I could have had 4 bills. I very easily could have ran for 400 that game. So to your point, and as athletes, this is how it is, right?
It's how
We
you
we remember the good, but we remember all the
all
mistakes, all the missed opportunities.
everything.
Yeah,
Like
man.
like when you run the wrong route or you
Mhm.
just miss time to jump or
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that. Like you
Yeah, all
remember
that.
that versus like, yeah. I'm like, oh, tell us about what the catch you had.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Like,
I don't remember, but I could tell you everything I did wrong.
yep. Because those the ones you like,
Yeah. Yeah, you want them back. You want them back.
hmm
Those are the ones that each and it's the same in the league, bro. I remember very few good things that I did, but I can tell you almost every pass that I dropped. I can tell you every punt return that I muffed. I can tell you the few times that I could tell you the down to the exact detail.
yeah.
So it's we just wired different. We're absolutely wired different. But we talked about the game, but is there a moment that you can look back, whether it was at practice and a game and meeting rooms, is there something from your time at Rutgers that you wish you could go back and relive that moment?
A lot of cool moments.
Yeah.
I would say my freshman year,
Hmm.
that bowl game, that was fun. I won MVP in a bowl game.
Hmm.
And that was like I got to really play on national TV, but got to show my skill set
Yeah.
and what I'm able to do. So I think I had like 200 all-purpose yards, um, two rushing touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown. But it was fun though. Like I was just out there having the ball. And the funny part is, so like my family they traveled to almost every game. So this game, my sister, my brother, brother-in-law, and my nephew, my nieces, they were all traveling
Hmm.
after one of my, you know, cousins, graduation. So they had to drive from Jersey to Maryland because of snowing because we
Hmm.
played Memphis.
Yeah.
But by the time they got down, they missed their flight. So I'm thinking they're down there at the game like the whole time. And they weren't there at all. They had missed their flight. So
Mm.
me, like my sister, brother, they tell me they wasn't there. I was just like, yeah, they were like, yeah, we're in the stands. So I was like, all right, bet. My one sister who lived in Florida, she was there. But
Yeah.
like my other sister, other brother, they weren't there. So I'm like, all right, bet, yeah, cool. Played the whole game. I'm standing there after the game looking for them. They nowhere to be found. I'm like, whatever. They probably went up. They probably went somewhere or something. Like after the game, like so I go to the locker room looking like where y'all at? I was looking like, man, no, we're in Maryland. I just said, well, we wanted to tell you that we missed our flight.
Yeah.
Like like we want you to get distracted. I'm like, shit, I wasn't gonna get distracted. I went out there and balled anyway. But it was just funny that like that to them, they were more focused on like, all right, you go out there and just do you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us per se. Like, just make sure you're in a clear headspace to go out there and play ball. And
Yeah. That's what family's supposed to do.
that's what they're supposed to do.
And hearing you talk about your family, I can identify with that as my family traveled to, my dad was at every game, didn't miss a game. Wherever I was at, my dad was going to be there. My family was going to make sure I had somebody there. So I completely understand that family dynamic, right? And I completely understand family not wanting to become a distraction and just wanting you to do your thing because that's how mine is. So I can
Mhm.
honor that. I can see that. I can respect that. And I love that. So getting close to the end, what's the next chapter for Mo? What does it look like? I know you have your Facts Over Stats podcast that you do, right? What's next? What's going on in Mohammed Sanu's life that our fans could go and get behind and support that you would want anybody to know about?
Well, right now I'm building these training facilities, Legacy Sports Complex. Like you said, that legacy, everybody's leaving a legacy. We're trying to all cement a legacy and do something um, better than what we've done and accomplished, but do it on a scale where we can help others achieve greater things. Um, a legacy. We train kids from 2 years old all the way up to your grandma and grandpa. It's a multi-sport training
Yeah,
facility where whole families could come in together. They can go in and find out whatever they necessarily need. So it's that NFL experience, that professional experience, that college experience, but we give it out to the whole community, the whole masses, and you let
yeah,
them pick from the pie of all the available modalities, the recovery, high level training, specialized training, and on top of that, we do Botox, do aesthetics, we got the orthopedic, so everything that you can really think of that we have access to, put it under one roof
yeah.
and you give it out to the community and let them see what it's like to be a professional athlete, but
That's
also
huge.
be surrounded by D1 athletes, professional athletes, people
Yeah,
that they aspire to be like, but also let
that's
them know
huge.
like there's many other things that you can be successful at. This isn't just one thing.
That last part more than anything, because oftentimes as athletes, as football players, I can only speak to a football player, but I know some basketball players as well. We get so caught up in this has to be the thing. We put all our eggs in this basket, and even some of the guys that I've played with, when it's done, we don't know who we are outside of that. We have no other identity outside of football. So I commend you and I take my hat off to you for that, my guy. And again, I'm not surprised. This is who you are. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly who you are. Where can people find these locations? Where can they get at? Where can they reach you on Instagram? X, where can they find all of this?
So we have 5 locations currently in the state of Georgia, um, all spread out. We have one in the 2, 3 throughout Gwinnett County, Suwannee, Lawrenceville, Bradenton, Houston, and then we got another location out there in Georgia. And then we have one in the Milton area, but we're looking to, go out to Texas, go out to New Jersey, go out to Florida, go out to Oregon,
Yeah.
go out there, mess with Phil Knight, because I know he would want something like this to be involved
It's
with.
needed. It's nothing. It's
You know,
nothing out there like that. It's needed for sure.
it's one of the things that's gonna be able to bring communities together. That's what it's
Mhm.
about, like being able to have family ecosystem go, home together, leave from home together, everybody go train, mom, daughter, son, father, you know, we got
Yeah.
everything for everybody, grandparents. We go home, we have family dinner, but from every aspect, every sport. So now you bringing in different communities, different backgrounds all together under one roof, just like how football did. football brings, so many different people from all across the world. Like, you know, that that football we grew up playing, you had me the ability to have such a beautiful relationship with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, without that ball, we would not know each other.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what the beautiful thing about sports is. It's like, all right, how can I connect with people that are like-minded like me that want to help others and want to be impactful in somebody else's life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, Doug family, if we can, let's get out there and support any way, anyhow that we can. Whether it's sharing the word about it, whether it's posting it, you'll have to send me a link or something where I
I
can
got you.
have them put it out for you, so we can get that out there. Then the last question, well, two more questions. When you look back at everything that you've done in your career, whether it was at Rutgers, NFL, what you're currently doing now, what message do you want the next generation to take from your journey?
Well, I'll give them two. Always be grateful of what you're blessed with,
Mm,
right? Because everybody's greatness is different.
yeah,
Everybody has some special gift. It's up to you to understand yourself and your greatness and how you can apply it to the world and affect change. Right? God bless all of us with unique, special abilities that
yeah,
can make change in this world. Like, but it's up to us to work together on figuring out what that
yeah,
is and how we can fit this puzzle that we have existing on this earth. Because we're all puzzle pieces at the end of the day. And
yeah,
it's like, how can we make this beautiful picture that God's painted himself? And how can
yeah,
we go in and help this person bless that person? Like, you're blessed to be a blessing. So it's up to you to really hone in on that,
yeah.
really push that out. And always, like, another thing is just, don't sacrifice what you really want for what you want right now. Like, that
Mm,
simple,
mm,
simple, that pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. And that's one of the, know, mantras coach always used to implement to us. And you gotta always remember that family. But you forget about yourself. Like,
yeah,
forget about me, I love you. That's what really matters. And those are all little Rutgers mantras, like, you know what I'm saying?
I love that. I love that. I love that. And you said some powerful things in there. And I hope people take hold to them, because it was absolutely powerful. The last question I got to hit you with: what's your prediction for this upcoming weekend's game?
I think it's gonna be like 45-30. Y'all
45,
probably
45 where?
45-30, 45-28. Like,
Okay.
we'll score, like, but I know y'all gonna be mad as hell from what happened last week, so y'all gonna come out here ready to ready to roll. I already know.
Did you catch our game from last week?
I was watching. I was
You was
watching. That
watching?
was one of them. That was a good game.
What did you give me your opinion on that game? What do you think we didn't do that we should have done, and what do you think Indiana did um, to kind of minimize us?
Oh, coach, I know the coaches had a lot of nice pressures to confuse the defense, confuse their
Mhm.
quarterback. So
Yeah,
I know Coach Yano gonna try to do the same
I
thing.
know he is. I know
Hey,
he
boy,
is.
he gonna bring that blizzard blitz, boy, and that shit work every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
out here giving out the gems, but you know what I mean? It should work every time. Yeah, I still to this day don't even know how. I mean, I do know, but I don't even know how it works. Like,
Yeah. Listen, you know what they say. I don't care if you know what I'm doing. You got to
yeah,
stop it.
you gotta
You
stop
got to
it.
stop it. I don't care
I
if
had
I.
that conversation today. I had that same conversation today. Like, one of my youth kids at the facility. We actually played them today. And I was not this week. We play them not today. We play them this week. And, I love him and his little brother. But
Mhm.
he plays on Lawrenceville team, and they're they got an A team and a B team. The B
Okay.
team is bad. They're pretty good. We Their A team is really good. And we actually beat them second game of the season, which was huge for us. I don't think we've ever beat them
Okay.
as a
Well,
as our
congrats on that.
our age group. Yeah, it was huge. They had to overcome adversity. That was tough. We was down like 16-6.5. So and then they had to score 3 touchdowns in the fourth, like with like 4 minutes left, which they did. Good ball.
There we
But
go. That's coaching. Okay, I put that on my guy. But bro, man, I appreciate you coming on, man.
of course,
You
bro.
know, it's
Appreciate you having me.
introducing us, no doubt, introducing us to this Rutgers team, to this Rutgers environment, to this Rutgers culture. And I thought it could be no one better than you to do that, being as who you were at that time with them, and not only that, who you are currently today. So much love, my guy. I
Love
appreciate
my
you,
people.
and we're gonna get up soon.
Oh, of course, I can't wait to see you, KB. Can't
Yes,
wait,
sir,
bro.
brother. All right, my dude.
Peace.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, my boy.
Yep. You good? You hungry? Okay.
You know she hungry.
Huh?
You know she hungry.
No, that's my son.
You know he hungry.
Okay. Yeah. All right, bro. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No doubt. No, I
Appreciate
got
you.
you, bro. It's all love, bro.
All right, my dude. I get
We'll
up with
tap
you.
in soon. For sure.
Yeah,
Tell
for
everybody
sure.
I said hello.
Will do.
Tell Pops, Moms, whole fam, everybody. Give my
Yep.
love, bro.
I got you. For sure. That's it, people. That's all we got time for today. As always, Jay Stu, I love you. And remember, ducks of a feather flock together. And we out.